The Marriott Hotel, Midtown Manhattan, the CEO of the largest health insurer in America, sets out for a meeting of investors. But as he reaches the venue, a masked man approaches from behind.
Brian Thompson was shot just before 7 a.m. Police believe the shooting was a targeted killing.
The shooting of the father of two led to a nationwide manhunt. 5 days later, a suspect was arrested. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione became a controversial media sensation. Instead of denouncing the killing, some seemed to cheer it on, furious about the US health insurance industry. But what few people realize is that this is a story about artificial intelligence.
Stop denials with AI!
How many people have to die?
And the growing use of AI in modern healthcare.
People are dying!
Luigi Mangione, the man accused of killing the US healthcare insurance chief executive Brian Thompson, appeared in New York to face 11 state criminal counts that could lead to a death penalty sentence.
Then, something extraordinary happened. Protesters flocked to his court appearances, hailing him as a folk hero.
So what brought you here today?
This case is a case about humanity. I think everybody in the crowd identifies with the extortionist nature of our American healthcare. They implemented like an AI bot to review the claims. Some of those people had life-threatening illnesses that were rejected for efficiency.
What's your feeling in general about AI?
I mean, technology is going to find its way into everything. So to stand against it you become a fossil. But we have got to continue to invest into the human components of things because as we saw, you can't just automate everything, right? Somebody has to be looking and watching over it.
People are dying! People are dying! People are dying!
I myself have had a terrible experience with American healthcare despite having one of the better plans. Both my mom and I have had to battle and fight tooth and nail AI claim denials. It's really insidious the way that AI is infecting every aspect of our society, but specifically something so important and crucial such as healthcare that already shouldn't be for profit. They're using AI to maximize the profits that they can make off of their clients.
Stop denials with AI!
How many people have to die?
In this case, like, incredible strength of feeling from the protesters. You can understand, too, you know, if you've been personally affected by this or if someone in your family has, like, I understand why this is such an emotional moment. But, you know, I also think that, like, someone was murdered here. You know, someone with a family, with children. And I think there's a bit of mental gymnastics going on with these protesters where they sort of conveniently manage to forget that fact.
Luigi Mangione is not someone you would expect to take on the role of outlaw vigilante. He studied at the prestigious University of Pennsylvania, one of America's Ivy League.
We spoke to a few of his classmates who didn't want to go on the record because they had been continually hounded by the press ever since, which you can understand. And everyone, almost to a point, say that Luigi was, like, smart, he was helpful, he was kind, he was friendly.
But then I discovered a remarkable detail about Luigi, one that's been all but overlooked.
He did computer and information science as his major, but then he also then got a master's degree from here in computer science with a concentration in artificial intelligence. And the thing is, Luigi wasn't just doing well in this course, he was doing so well that he was appointed as an assistant tutor. This is stuff that he knew incredibly well and, by the sounds of it, was also very, very good at.
Most of Luigi's friends have so far refused to go on the record. But back in the UK, I tracked down one person who was willing to talk. Gawinda Bogal is a British blogger who writes about the impact of technology on society.
Hi.
Hi, Hannah.
How are you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Luigi was a subscriber to Gawinda's blog, and the two of them talked about their shared concerns.
When I spoke to Luigi, he was in Japan, and he was remarking on how sort of lonely it felt in a lot of places. The streets were empty because everything's just automated. He was quite concerned about mass automation and the knock-on effects that this might be having on society. You can live your entire life without leaving your house. There's less human connection, and AI is going to make this a lot worse. I mean, he himself probably had no problem making friends. He was a very charismatic individual, but I think he was worried about other people and maybe how they were kind of gradually being lost. The connections that we have, they keep society together. And he was worried that all of that is unraveling.
Did you talk about healthcare as well?
There was only one brief exchange that we had. Luigi made a passing remark about how I was lucky because we had the NHS in the UK, free healthcare.
How did he seem to you?
He actually seemed quite cheerful. Someone who did not seem particularly pessimistic. He wanted me to focus less on the problems and more on the solutions. He would ask me, so what's the practical takeaway of this? He wasn't just interested in moaning. He wanted to find real solutions.
Since his arrest, the Luigi Mangione story had taken on a life of its own. There was also no shortage of theories about what happened and why.
There is a note which was supposedly found in his backpack when he was arrested, and the press have decided to call this his manifesto.
In the document, he appeared to talk about the planning of the alleged crime, but then moved on to health insurance.
There's one bit here that says, frankly, these parasites had it coming. And then he says, these indecipherable have simply gotten too powerful and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it.
In New York, jury selection in Luigi Mangione's trial is scheduled to begin later this year. And it's bound to elicit yet more controversy on all sides. His supporters hope those jurors will deliver a radical verdict.
We have a feature in the American justice system called jury nullification, where if a jury believes that a not guilty verdict would be the best delivery of justice, they can deliver a not guilty verdict regardless of whether they think the person actually committed the crime.
People united!